Dragon Ball Super. I conquered Bardos with my cooking skills. Chapter 11. He wanted to use this to show that he could defeat Kakarot and walk ahead of Kakarot. As a result, this only looked at his cook. Oh, the former cook. No, he's been out for a long time. Surt shook his head and refused. If you want to fight, go find Old Bay. I'm just a cook, not a fighting maniac. In addition, his previous desire to fight had been calmed down in the battle with Beerus, and he didn't want to fight now. Moreover, he has always been clear about his own path. Bubble Angel. Old Bay. A big question mark appeared on the heads of the people present, and then they looked at Vegeta with sudden enlightenment. So, it can be called like this. Vegeta was full of anger and was about to yell. Bardos had already reached out and held Surt's arm, smiling and saying, "Surt, let's go. If you don't go back, I'm afraid Lord Champa will make trouble again. Suddenly, I feel that this job is a bit annoying. Can't I always be alone with Surt?" Wait. Facing the Urkang hand extended by Sun Wukong, Surt and Bardos chose to turn a blind eye. As the colorful light lit up under the feet of the two, Surt and Bardos left the earth just like that. Really just left like that? Sun Wukong was disappointed, so he had to settle for the second best and put his eyes on Vegeta. Asshole, don't think I don't know what you're thinking. Vegeta clenched his fist and cursed loudly. I will never, ever fight with you. Watch this, Vegeta. Sun Wukong grinned, his hair instantly turned bright red, and rushed towards Vegeta. Vegeta was hit unexpectedly, and he became even angrier. He also entered the Super Saiyan God realm and rushed towards Son Goku. Looking at the two people fighting in the sky, Chi-Chi and Bulma looked at each other silently and sighed. Universe 6, Destruction Land. Seeing that Surt came back without any serious problems, Champa also put down his uneasy heart. You are finally back. I am almost starving. Where is the delicious food? As soon as he felt relieved, Champa felt the hunger from his stomach. You are still asking about food. Bardos did not hide the disgust on his face at all, and said to Champa with a frown. Run 10 laps around the destruction land. Did you run, Champa? No. Champa did not dare to lie, and honestly explained it and ran away quickly. Are you full? Do you want me to get you some more food? Surt did not pay attention to Champa, and looked at Bardos and asked gently. I want noodles. What kind of noodles? With miso soup. Bardos pondered for a moment and began to order. Japanese pork bone ramen. Surt named it accurately and went to make noodles. Life seemed to return to peace again. Surt also had some troubles, such as when his own desire to fight appeared, he would fight with Champa, which was not enough. This fat cat is not even as good as Beerus's finger. He often said that he was tired, thirsty, hungry, and didn't want to fight after fighting for a few rounds. Bardos couldn't stand it, so he decided to go into battle himself. But facing the angel, Bardos, who was quite strong among the angels, Sut couldn't beat him. The guided battle couldn't make Sut eliminate this burning desire to fight. So, facing Sut who was a little depressed, Bardos thought of a way. The two Saiyans from Universe 7 are probably no match for you. How about this? Bardos suggested, go to Universe 11 and compete with the candidate for the clown god of destruction, Wemed. Sutter was a little surprised by Bardos' suggestion. Yes, the candidate for the god of destruction should be strong enough for you to improve. Besides, a battle of equal strength will make you feel refreshed. Listening to Bardos' words, Sutter's expression was a little complicated. He didn't expect Bardos to think so highly of him. He remembered what the candidate for Wemed was called. It should be a fat man with a beard. If I remember correctly, the strength shown by the other party at the Tournament of Power should be equivalent to the completed Super Saiyan Blue. And Sutter's current strength is still at the Super Saiyan Red. Is Bardos wearing a filter? But Bardos didn't notice Sutter's micro-expression at all, and kept smiling and nodding to explain. If Lord Waimai agrees to let his candidate be your opponent, then would you be happier if you could meet a worthy opponent? Quote. As he spoke, Bardos reached out and touched his cheek, and said with self-pity, oh, it's really. Seeing you unhappy, I feel bad too. I feel that when you are unhappy, the food you cook lacks some flavor. Yes. Sipping instant noodles, with 3 empty boxes of champa at his feet, He nodded desperately. So, I choose to eat instant noodles recently. Suit thought about it and agreed. Okay, I think your idea is pretty good, then we will. Before he could say the word, send, the phone in Suti's trouser pocket vibrated again. Quote. Bulma, what's the matter with you? After hesitating for a long time, Suit reluctantly answered the call. Don't let me be a cook, I'm very busy and don't have time. Even if I give it to Sony, it won't work. I haven't spent the last million yet. Quote. Bulma on the other end of the phone was stunned for a moment, then explained with a smile. Neither. We want to invite you and Bardos to the dance this time. Dance. Bardos was stunned when he heard his name, then looked at Surt suspiciously and asked, what is a dance? Is it food? I want to go too. Take me with you this time, you can't eat alone secretly. Elephant Paw, who was running to lose weight in the distance, shook his long ears, and rushed over instantly after hearing this. Can you bring a cat, a god of destruction? Sutter took advantage of Bulma and the others' fear of Beerus and planned to refuse in a roundabout way. He was about to meet another angel girl, Makarita, so how could he have the time to attend a dance? The god of destruction of the sixth universe. Are you easy to get along with? Bulma asked hesitantly. Now, she also knew that there were 12 universes, and each universe had an angel and a god of destruction. After all, the two fighting maniacs, Sun Wukong and Vegeta, had already gone to the divine land of the seventh universe in the name of food to practice with Beerus and Whis. Of course, I am a kind and peaceful god of destruction. As long as you give me delicious food, I can still protect your planet. Thinking of a dance party with many delicious foods, Champa yelled directly at the phone next to Sutter's ear. He touched his huge belly, his face filled with excitement. That's fine. I will arrange all kinds of delicious food for the party, do you want to come? Bulma thought about it and agreed, saying the time, and instructed, 3 hours later, remember to be on time. Seeing the communication being hung up, Surt couldn't help but yelled. I just came up with a plan, and I haven't started the action yet, but Bulma yelled. 3 hours later, Earth in the seventh universe. In the banquet hall of the luxury hotel rented by Bulma. Under the flashing colorful lights, Champa was already eating all kinds of things while chatting happily with the Earth Z warriors. Can I touch your belly? Trunks carefully reached out his hand and asked again to confirm. Of course, as long as you give me the cool ice cream in your hand. For food, Champa has abandoned the dignity of the god of destruction and turned into a harmless pet. Then, I'll give you the marshmallow, can you let me touch your ears? Seeing Trunks successfully touch Champa's belly, Sun Wushan hesitated again and handed over the marshmallow in his hand. Hee, of course. Champa took the marshmallow without hesitation and ate it. What is your relationship with Lord Beerus? Master came to Champa with a bottle of beer. I'm his brother. Champa snatched the beer from Master Kame, took a sip and spit it out in disgust. Quote. Oh. Looking at the beer that was stuffed back, Master Kame sighed helplessly. Looking at this weird and harmonious scene in front of them, Surt and Bardos shook their heads together, speechless. Hey, Surt, you and Bardos, don't just stand there stupidly, come dance together. Krillin hugged number 18, who was a head taller than him, on the dance floor, dancing a waltz that was not very coordinated. This kind of dance is just right, it won't affect the baby in your belly. Son Gohan and Vital also hugged each other and walked back and forth slowly. Do you want to try it? Surt retracted his gaze from Champa and turned to Bardos for advice. Okay. Bardos had never seen such fun, and followed Surt into the dance floor. The music was very elegant, and the atmosphere was also a little ambiguous and peaceful. Hey, Goku is only practicing and not coming to the dance. Looking at the three couples dancing on the dance floor, Chi-Chi was inexplicably envious. It's okay. Isn't my Vegeta here? I'll dance with you. Bulma grabbed Chi-Chi's waist and pulled her into the dance floor. I'll come too. Master Kame smiled drunkenly and looked at Pool. Pool, turn into a beautiful lady. No way. Pool made a face at the old man and dragged Oolong to the dance floor. Ha ha ha. After laughing, Trunks and Son Goten jumped into the dance floor. Tisk. Master Kame, who burped, looked at the people in the dance floor with disdain and staggered towards the wine cabinet. Teacher Mutin, you've drunk enough. If you drink more, you'll get drunk. Seeing this, Yamcha shook his head helplessly, put down the red wine in his hand and wanted to help Master Kame. Master Kame, with his eyes hazy with intoxication, looked up and saw several double images of Yamcha in front of him. Ah. Don't mind me. He rubbed his eyes and staggered, and then he found that Yamcha in front of him suddenly turned into a beautiful woman, with an impressive figure. Sutter and Bardos were dancing, and when he turned his head, he saw Master Kame and Yamcha pushing each other not far away. Especially Master Kame, who even reached out to touch Yamcha's buttocks. The perverted look on his face, seeing such an eye-catching scene, Sutter hurriedly shifted his sight. Before the song was finished, Champa, who had secretly drunk fruit wine and had a flushed face, stumbled into the dance floor, disrupting everyone's rhythm. Hey, Master Champa, have you drunk? Bardos frowned and let go of Sutter's waist with a somewhat dissatisfied look. It's okay, just knock him out and throw him on the sofa. Suit was not happy with the broken atmosphere, so he gave advice to Bardos. Bang! Bardos swung a heavy knife at the back of Champa's neck, causing him to fall to the ground. Suit also pulled him up with a look of disgust and threw him on the sofa not far away. Several couples in the dance floor started dancing again. After the song ended, Bardos followed Suit to in the wine cabinet area, looking at Suitor mixing cocktails. Hey, what is this? Bardos just took a few steps and felt that she stepped on something. She picked up a few scattered magazines, flipped through them and walked to Suitor, asking. What a strange album, why are these girls wearing so little? Look at this, not even one piece. Is your aesthetic strange? Bardos flipped through them and asked Suitor, who was mixing cocktails, and this? Why don't boys wear it? What? Suitor asked without paying attention to Bardos's words under the full background music. This. As Bardos quickly browsed, her serious face began to turn pink. The more she flipped through them, she noticed something wrong. Although she was an angel and didn't understand much about the relationship between men and women, she still knew some basic common sense of reproduction. When she saw some scenes that she shouldn't see, Bardos's face turned red. Ahem. Don't mess around and take other people's things. Master Kame stumbled and walked over quickly, trying to cover his ears and steal the bell, and took the magazine from Bardos's hand. Shameful. Bardos shouted, and directly used the power of angels to crush the magazine in Master Kame's hand into ashes. At the same time, because her angel power was too strong, she directly knocked Master Kame out of the window not far away and fell out of the banquet hall. Ah! My rare collection. Looking at the dust, Master Kame sobered up instantly and burst into tears. He didn't seem to care at all about the danger of falling from a high altitude. Teacher Wu Tian, Tian Xinhan and Jiaozi looked out the window together, not knowing what was going on. Ahem. Well done, Bardos. Suit hurriedly eased the embarrassment and stuffed the prepared cocktail into Bardos' hands. Bardos was reading a magazine, but Suitor didn't notice it. He thought that Master Kame was being lewd again. Bardos still had a flushed face, nodded, and took the wine from Suitor. When the two handed over the goblet, Bardos's fingers touched Suitor's fingers. An electric shock-like feeling hit Bardos's head. She somehow turned the pictures of the magazines she had read before into her and Suitor. With her face flushed, Bardos hurriedly drank the wine in her hand, trying to get rid of the heat in her heart. However, the heat was not removed, but became more and more vigorous. No, she is an angel. What's wrong? Suitor also poured himself a glass, stood beside Bardos, and asked in confusion. The alcohol content of the wine he mixed was not high. Could it be that Bardos would not drink it? As Suitor got closer, Bardos' heartbeat became faster and faster. She even smelled the strange fragrance on Suitor's body. It's not that she had never had such close contact before, but she had never felt this way. Bardos even felt her skin getting hot as her heartbeat accelerated. She began to wonder if she was sick. But angels can't get sick. What's wrong? Suitor also noticed that Bardos's brows were frowning, and asked. No, it's okay. Bardos hurriedly shook his head, trying to hide his expression in panic. The more he tried to hide, the more strange Suitor felt. He reached out and touched Bardos' forehead, puzzled. Hey, your face is so red, and your forehead is so hot, don't you angels know how to drink at all? No. No. Bardos' heart was beating like a drum, and her face was almost suffocating with shame, and even her words began to be incoherent. If you feel uncomfortable, then let's take Champa back. Anyway, he is drunk. Soot said with concern, and walked towards Champa lying on the sofa. Seeing Soot leave, Bardos suddenly lost all the feelings, and even a long sense of loss emerged in her heart. It's really strange. After leaving halfway, when she left with Soot, Bardos felt his arm on her shoulder, and she felt this weird feeling again. She pretended to be calm and went all the way to the sixth universe. This way, as fast as when she came, made Bardos feel strangely long and tense. We're here. As soon as the three of them landed on the ruins of Universe 6, Bardos quickly walked away. This made Surt confused, looking at Champa still sleeping soundly in a coma. He was careful and felt that something was wrong with Bardos. But Surt didn't think much about it. He thought that the angel was drunk, so he didn't ask to go directly to Universe 11. Bardos quickly found a remote corner and couldn't wait to open the communication function on the magic stone on the scepter. Wes, please answer it quickly. Bardos was very anxious. She was sure that she was not sick. But why did all these physical reactions happen? She was so flustered that she couldn't calm down to find the root of the problem herself. She put all her hopes on her brother. What's wrong, sister? Whis, who was far away in Universe 7, picked up the scepter with a smile and asked after opening the communication. I'm still training Sun Wukong and Vegeta. Ahem. After seeing the careless Whis in the Philosopher's Stone, Bardos coughed hurriedly to cover up his anxiety. I have a little problem, I want to ask you. Not noticing the blush behind Bardos' ears, Whis said with a smile, I dare not ask for your advice. Sister, please tell me quickly, what questions do you have to ask? It's like this, I saw a strange phenomenon, that is, some different races. Bardos thought for a while, and then tactfully told the consequences of the frontier. When a person sees another person, their heartbeat suddenly speeds up, their skin gets hot, and their body temperature rises. Wow. Sister, are you testing me? Listening to Bardos's description, Weiss, who was originally smiling, suddenly laughed out loud. Isn't this a sign that humans want to reproduce? Reproduction. Bardos listened to this sentence, and the picture of her and Surt doing the same actions as the men and women in the magazine appeared in her mind again. Yes, the estrus period of humans, oh. The high priest said that we should use civilized language, which is the so-called love at first sight. Also, love at first sight. Bardos frowned in annoyance and continued to talk about her and Surt. But what I observed is not like this. There is no love at first sight, it is just sudden. That is love over time. Weiss said indifferently. You've known about the complexity of human beings for a long time, sister. Human beings can have various situations, which can lead to changes in heart and temptations. Forget it, I suddenly don't want to talk about it. Bardos's doubts were not resolved at all, and he cut off the communication in depression. Could it be that I really have been with Sute for a long time, fell in love with him? She felt that there was no possibility at all. She was an angel, but Surt was a Saiyan. Races are different, okay. After being depressed for a long time, Bardos temporarily put this worry behind her. She took Champa, who had woken up, and Surt, who looked normal, to the 11th universe, the land of destruction. To say that the divine land of the 6th and 7th universes is a place with pleasant scenery. Then the 11th universe is like a huge circus built on a wide grassland. It is worthy of being the clown god of destruction, the architectural style is so appropriate. Surt couldn't help but sigh. Humph, I tell you, although he is a funny clown, his temper is not very good. Champa muttered to Surt, reminding him, if you can't make Waimai agree, this trip will be completely in vain. Is that so? Sutter turned his eyes to Bardos, who looked calm. Bardos nodded, you need to say it yourself, it's up to you whether Lord Waimai agrees or not. Oh. Sutter responded, he thought he could see the fat candidate after coming here. Welcome. The tent was opened, and an angel with the same skin color as Bardos but with twin ponytails came out with a smile. This angel is naturally Makarita. Before Bardos explained his purpose, a clown who cursed came out of the tent. Tisk. Champa, what are you doing here? Sutter raised his eyebrows, knowing that this person was the god of destruction of the 11th universe. Why my? Tisk, do you think I want to come here? Champa also responded with his hands on his hips. If it weren't for this guy, I wouldn't come here. Quote. This guy. It was only then that Waimai noticed the extra cert behind Champa and Bardos. Who is it? Could it be your candidate? It was understandable to think so. Waimai had already decided on his candidate for the god of destruction. The candidate was not Jiren, the strongest in their 11th universe, but Toppo, the second strongest. As for why, of course, Jiren didn't want to. Candidate. No, he's just my chef. Before Champa finished speaking, Sut introduced himself. I am Bardos's chef. Huh. Champa was obviously stunned when he heard this. So Sut has been willing to stay in the destruction area of the 6th universe to make delicious food for Bardos, not for him. Too sentimental, too careless. Chef. Waimai and Makarita were also stunned, but their stunnedness was because they didn't know what a chef is. Yes, he is still my boyfriend. Bardos nodded and took Sut's arm, as if swearing something. Maybe she didn't understand it before, but at this moment, Bardos just wanted to completely occupy Sut based on her intuition. Occupy him, make Sut hers alone, and make him her property. What is a chef? And a boyfriend? I've never heard of it. Waimai is not a person who can't lose face. After asking Makarita to no avail, he asked Champa directly. A chef is someone who can make delicious food. Super awesome. Champa smiled complacently and explained irrelevantly. As for boyfriend, it's what Bardos calls suitor. Oh, so your name is Suitor. Waimai nodded slightly, looking at Suitor with scrutiny. Boyfriend doesn't seem to be a very good name. So, why did you come to me? Is it to make delicious food for me? Although Makarita on the side only said hello and never spoke again. But she stared at Suitor curiously throughout the whole process. I just want to come and compete with your substitute. Suitor didn't beat around the bush and directly explained his purpose. Of course, in exchange, I can also give you a delicious meal. Tisk, sparring with my candidate, can my candidate come and go at your command? Waimai sneered with disdain. In these 12 universes, which human can command him? Not even Jiren, who is stronger than him. Excuse, I think you are afraid that your candidate is not as good as a chef in our family. Seeing Waimai's expression, Champa used a trick to provoke him and shouted. Tisk, you say to compete. Just bring someone here, and I will promise you to call your candidate out. Waimai looked lazy, leaning against the edge of the circus tent, sneering at Champa. Only you, the god of destruction, are so low class. Don't talk about us gods of destruction. Even if it's a candidate, not everyone can see it. After saying that, he ignored the people present and turned around and walked into the tent. Quote. Bardos and Sutga's elephant were speechless. It seemed that they didn't know that the god of destruction had nothing special to do except lying down. As for the candidate of the god of destruction, it was just a vacant title and there was nothing to do. Come in. Makarita smiled and invited them into the tent. As soon as he walked into the tent, Sut was surprised by the style of the decoration inside. A yellow sofa was placed on the red carpet, and strands of green silk cloth were arranged in disorder above the head. Tisk, what do you say about this style? Red and yellow, with a green head. Who let you in? Enjoying a beautiful woman's shoulder massage, Waimai looked at the person coming in with an impatient look. I let you in. A visitor is a guest. With one hand behind her back and the other holding a scepter, Makarita walked behind him. Tisk. Makarita, you are really nosy. Waimai muttered, and ignored the three people of suit. Sensing Waimai's mood, another beautiful woman kneeling beside the sofa hurriedly handed the peeled orange flesh to his mouth. Come on. Lord Waimai, open your mouth and I will eat it for you, ah. Waimai enjoyed it happily, and reached out to pull another beautiful woman standing on the side into his arms. Oh, Lord Waimai, you are so bad. Looking at the soft and fragrant jade arms, Champa folded his arms and complained to Suit. Look, this is the most annoying existence among the gods of destruction, the dissolute clown. After saying this, Suitor really didn't know how to respond. HMPH, the stronger the person, the more resources he can have. Bardos looked indifferent and glanced at Suitor. This look made Suitor feel confused. He thought Bardos was urging him to hurry up. He wanted to find a way to make Waimai agree to let someone come out to compete. So, Sutter stepped forward and asked Waimai again, "What will it take for you to agree to let your candidate compete with me? How about I cook a delicious meal for you?" Master Waimai doesn't like delicious food, he likes beauty. Makurita was very curious about Sutter and explained it to him. Ah. Sutter was surprised. Some things have been revealed to you quietly in the plot. Moreover, this is also the first time that Sutter has hit a wall. Compared with Beerus, Waimai is even more difficult to get. Sutter frowned slightly and thought secretly. Otherwise, where can he find a beautiful woman for this clown? However, this inexplicably familiar scene seems to happen often in Master Roshi. Wei Mei was also a little surprised. He seemed to have thought of something when Makurita reminded Suitor. He smiled. "You have to fight with my substitute, right?" "Yeah." Suitor nodded simply and clearly. "It's not impossible. Since Shang Pa brought you here, I can't completely ignore your face." Wei Mei was enjoying the beauty and suddenly said this. She didn't come to fight him. Instead, he could watch a show to cheer her up. Not bad. Seeing Wei Mei brought this up, Bardos blinked at Suitor, indicating that it was settled. But when she saw Makurita staring at Suitor, she felt inexplicably uncomfortable. "Hey, Suitor, don't embarrass our sixth universe." Shangpa put one hand on his waist and patted Suitor's shoulder with the other hand. "Shangpa, you are wrong, I am from the seventh universe." Surt dodged quickly and avoided Shangpa's big pig's hoof. "Asshole. Believe it or not, I destroyed you." Hearing this, Shangpa was inexplicably angry. "Lord Shangpa, keep your demeanor." Bardos glanced at him and reminded him lightly. "Besides, your destructive power is useless to my boyfriend." Tisk. Shangpa had long been fed up with the weight loss torture of these two people, and he shut his mouth obediently. But the clenched fist clearly showed the unhappiness of the fat cat. "Then, I'll call Topo over." Before Waimai gave a signal, Makurita had already taken the initiative to speak. Looking at Makurita's back, Waimai squinted. But because there were still people present, he suppressed the question that was on the tip of his tongue and planned to ask it when no one was around. "Sit anywhere." Waimai said so and continued to enjoy himself. "Tisk, it makes me seem like I have to be polite to you." Shangpa walked over carelessly and sat on the sofa opposite Waimai. He took a banana from the coffee table and peeled it and ate it without any hesitation. Seeing that Bardos walked behind Shangpa, Sute did not sit on the sofa either. Instead, he took a bunch of grapes and fed Bardos a few bites from time to time. Bardos had long been accustomed to Sute's feeding, and he opened his mouth and ate naturally. This comfortable atmosphere lasted for 3 minutes. As the tent was opened, Makurita had already brought a fat man in. The tight black and red uniform of the Pride team, with no hair on the head and a big white beard. It was Topo, the god of destruction candidate of Wemd. "Master Wemd, you are looking for me." Topo congratulated Wemd and bowed to Wemd, asking. "Well, this guy said he wants to challenge you. Don't lose face for our 11th universe. Just defeat him." Seeing that Wemd's eyes were on Surt, and with preconceived notions, Topo also thought Surt was the candidate of Shangpa. "Oh, no problem, Master Wemd." Topo nodded, his expression firm, even a little unmoved. As a candidate for the god of destruction fighting against the candidates of the god of destruction of other universes, he will never lose. "Where are we going to fight? It can't be in your broken tent, right?" Shangpa asked ruffianly, with one hand resting on the back of the sofa and his right foot hitting his left foot. If you ignore his huge belly, his posture is still quite handsome. "Let's go to the realm of nothingness." Waimai thought for a moment and thought of a good place. "That's good." Shangpa nodded and agreed. Surt also knew this so-called realm of nothingness, which was the competition center for the power conference held in the universe later. It was a different dimension isolated from other dimensions. They left as soon as they said they would, and the few people present soon arrived in the realm of nothingness where there was nothing and it was pitch black. "Let's start." Waimai urged absent-mindedly. "Yes." Topo responded and flew away from everyone quickly. "Suitor, defeat him in one move and win honor for our sixth universe." Shangpa was a little excited, clenching his fist and cheering for Surt. "Didn't he say he was from the seventh universe?" Makurita stood beside Bardos and asked this question casually. I remember that the Saiyans from Universe 6 don't have tails. Well, Cert is a Saiyan from Universe 7. Bardos nodded and responded. Being able to tell that Cert is a Saiyan shows that Makurita has a wide range of knowledge. She was about to ask Makurita about the strange feeling she had before. But when the words came to her mouth, she suddenly couldn't ask. Bardos didn't know what was going on. Maybe this is an intuition from an angel. Let's start. Toppo's body released an unstable purple-red aura and said to Cert on the opposite side. Okay. After responding, Cert also entered the realm of Super Saiyan God and looked at Toppo vigilantly. He must not lose this battle. It has nothing to do with Shangpa, but he must not lose the image of him in Bardos' heart. Seeing that Sutter was slow to attack, Toppo didn't waste time and rushed over as fast as lightning. Bang! Facing Toppo's huge fist, Sutter hurriedly crossed his hands in front of his chest to block it. You are quite strong. Sutter didn't show it on his face, but he felt that his two arms were numb and trembling slightly. The force brought by Toppo's punch was far beyond his overestimation. Ha! Sutter shouted loudly, and the airwave on his body rose, driving the surging energy in his body to burst out. He also swung his fist and hit Toppo's chest. Toppo seemed very confident in his own strength. He did not defend himself, but chose to fight hard. Bang! There was another loud noise, and the collision of fists broke out a powerful air force, which blew up the surrounding air. The next moment, the two were so fast that only the afterimages of punches and kicks were left. Bang, bang, bang. Hey, it's interesting. Is the guy you brought really a cook? Waimide, who was not indifferent, asked in surprise when he saw that Su-Te was not at a disadvantage. Huh, he said he would make something for you, but you didn't care. Han. Shangpa crossed his arms and glanced at him with disdain. I can guarantee that what he makes will definitely make you praise it. Oh, I kind of want to try it. Makurita licked her red lips and suddenly said this. Waimai's eyes narrowed slightly, and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Then wait until the game is over, let him make a delicious meal. Tisk. Shangpa didn't like to hear Waimai's condescending tone. In contrast, he seemed to be a god of destruction with no style. However, thinking about it again, Waimai could only eat this meal, and he could eat whatever he wanted. Balance came out again. Come again. Quote. With a loud shout, the attention of the few people chatting was drawn to Sutter and Toppo. After being blown away by Toppo's violent power, Sutter quickly stabilized his body and rushed towards Toppo again. First a punch, then a sweeping kick, then a knee kick, and then an elbow strike with a backhand. The speed was extremely fast, so fast that it was dazzling, but it was still blocked by Toppo. Sutter was lacking in combat experience, even though he had Buu's amazing learning talent. Bang bang bang. Every time the punch hit the flesh, every time they collided, Cert felt a burst of pain. If this continued, he would lose to Toppo. As expected, Toppo, who was not inferior to Super Blue, was undoubtedly a huge challenge for him. The more anxious he was, the more flaws he would have. Pa! Cert was hit on the cheek by Toppo's left hook, his body tilted, and he staggered a few steps in the void. Pa! After spitting out the blood foam in his mouth, Cert's expression became fierce, and his eyes were full of real seriousness. You are not my opponent. When Toppo spoke, his big white beard trembled. After dozens of rounds, he also understood Cert's strength, and he was not his opponent at all, and said disdainfully. That's right, after all, the god of destruction of the sixth universe is not our master Waimai's opponent. As he said this, he also intentionally or unintentionally glanced at Shangpa who was watching the battle not far away. Aware of the gaze, a big question mark appeared on Shangpa's head. He complained with an ignorant look, keep fighting, why did you stop? Facing Toppo's arrogant and contemptuous attitude, Sutter didn't say anything nonsense. Swish. After teleporting, he appeared behind Toppo in an instant. With powerful energy infused into his right foot, Sutter kicked Toppo's neck fiercely. This move came suddenly, and Toppo was hit unexpectedly. His huge body was instantly whipped and flew backwards. Looking at Toppo falling into the endless darkness, Sutter did not feel the joy of hitting the target with one move, but quickly dived down to follow. With his hands clenched into fists, he hammered down on Toppo's broad back. This punch did not hit, and Tapo turned over at the critical moment and kicked Sutter's waist with a sweeping kick. Seeing this, Sutter had to choose to avoid it. While retreating, he had placed his hands on his waist and quickly accumulated energy. Qigong wave. Seeing that Sutter chose to send waves remotely, Tapo smiled and showed his destructive energy. Boom boom boom. One blue and one purple energy collided with each other with scorching light in the endless darkness. The huge explosion was like fireworks in the world of nothingness. Under the bright light, Sutter and Tapo dived towards each other again. The two were like two bright streams of light, constantly colliding, separating, and reuniting. Seeing this, Waimai yawned lazily and said uninterested, "No, the person you brought is not good. Indeed, it seems that he is doomed to lose." At this time, Mikurita had also lost her curiosity about Sutter. "I thought that the person that Bardos cared about was special. It seems that she is also blind and can't recognize people. Bah, the battle has only just begun, are you so sure?" Shangpa listened to the words of Waimai and Mikurita and yelled unhappily. Then, he put his hands on his mouth, pretending to be a loudspeaker, and shouted loudly at Sutter in the battle. "Sutter, come on, I believe in you, don't lose." Although Bardos, who was standing on the side, did not speak to join the discussion. But her frowning brows also silently explained her bad mood at the moment. Did she overestimate Sutter's potential? Humph, it's really an ant trying to shake a tree, overestimating one's own ability. With the output of energy, Tapo's attack became more and more fierce. Each move was accompanied by an unparalleled powerful force, and Sutter was beaten back step by step. Who? Sutter's resistance became increasingly difficult, and his breathing became more and more rapid, and he also felt numbness from his fists and feet. It was indeed difficult for the Super Saiyan God to face Tapo, who was as powerful as Super Saiyan Blue. But is he really an ant? Not necessarily. Noticing that Sutter's hands and feet were trembling visibly, Tapo decided to quit while he was ahead. He stepped back to distance himself from Sutter, and mocked himself as a good man, "Give up. Otherwise, if we continue to fight, you will look even worse." Sutter did not speak, but just kept panting, and his trembling hands were suddenly clenched into fists. In front of the woman he liked, and in front of another woman he also liked, choose to give up. What a joke. The rage and the determination not to lose made the blood in Surt's body boil. Along with his roar, the bright red flames around Surt kept rolling. The violent power spread to the surroundings, and the entire world of nothingness shook slightly because of the impact of his powerful air waves. The attached bright red flames kept rolling, gradually transitioning to azure blue. In the form of Super Saiyan God, he transformed into a Super Saiyan. As soon as the flames turned blue, Surt's hair color and eyebrows also changed from red to sky blue. His eyes also turned dark blue. Under the divine aura, the unique flames also brought out very slight electric sparks. He has changed. Looking at Surt's changes, Mikurita and Waimai's faces changed drastically. Not only that, his spirit also instantly rose a lot. Looking at Surt, who was wrapped in bright red, sky blue and white, Bardos also showed his first smile in the 11th universe. "You are worthy of my favor." A blue-haired Saiyan. Shang Pamu saw this and immediately showed off to Waimai. See, this is me. Bardos Das's chef, her boyfriend. Ha. Sutter was still suspended in the air, but the aura around him had changed qualitatively. "Go directly to Super Blue." Sutter roared, constantly releasing his power. A brand new realm is stepping into it. The blue aura became more and more dazzling, and the bright red gradually faded until it was completely replaced by the azure blue. One step into Super Blue means complete control. You, actually have a trick up your sleeve. Tapo didn't know that Sutter had just entered this new form, and he shouted in surprise. "Go on." Sutter didn't say it clearly, but just loosened his clenched fist and waved at Tapo. Facing Sutter's indifferent expression, coupled with the imperceptible murderous intent in his eyes, Tapo regained his composure and smiled. "Okay, then I'll beat you until you admit defeat." Quote. As soon as the words fell, his figure suddenly disappeared from the spot. Sut was very calm. He felt the air around him and his eyes suddenly looked to the right. He fired a gas bomb and accurately hit Tapo who had just appeared. Boom. The billowing smoke dissipated, and Tapo's figure was revealed. With an incredible look on his face, he took action again. Swish, swish, swish. Tapo suddenly appeared in front of Suit, but Suit did not attack. Instead, he raised his elbow and hit behind him. Bang! This attack actually hit Tapo, who wanted to take advantage of the situation to attack Suit. You can actually detect that I am just a phantom in front of you. Tapo staggered back a few steps, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and asked in surprise. Be serious, otherwise the one who loses ugly, will be you. Sutter said expressionlessly and seriously. Humph, just because your hair has changed color, do you think your strength has reached a new level? Tapo was enraged by this and rushed towards Sutter, launching a new round of punches and kicks. Bang bang bang. But this time, Sutter was not at a disadvantage at all, nor did he have difficulty resisting Tapo's attack. He advanced and retreated in moderation, with a calm expression, and his punches and kicks made Tapo panic at first. How is this possible? Hee hee. Sutter smiled and stood firmly on the upper hand. There was no wind in the realm of nothingness, but Tapo felt an unreasonable chill. He looked at the sudden burst of powerful air waves on Sutter's body, knowing that, as he said, if he continued to fight, he would lose. So, Tapo quickly pulled back, raising his hands high. A huge destructive energy gathered on his head. I don't believe it, it's just a change of hair color, how strong can it be? Did you use your hair dye? Why do you care about this again and again? Sutter said as he stretched out one hand, and the terrifying Qigong wave condensed in his hand. Asshole. Facing the energy gathered by Sutter, Tapo felt a palpitation for no reason. He didn't dare to be arrogant, and the destructive energy on his raised palm became larger and larger as he poured it. Are you going to use your ultimate move? Champa looked left and right and saw a gorgeous and shocking scene. Bardos, who will win? Tisk, of course it's my substitute. The guy you brought has just stepped into a new powerful field. Waimai was still very confident, with his hands on his hips and his words were firm. Not necessarily. Makurita frowned slightly and looked at the energy released by Surtur and Tapo at the same time. Well, Surtur is not the most powerful, but his growth rate is unmatched. Bardos's smile became wider and wider. Surtur's Qigong wave directly crushed Tapo's destructive ability. Coupled with the cold air he exuded, even Tapo in the battle, his heart trembled for no reason. I won't give up. Haa! Tapo saw the blue Qigong wave getting closer and closer to him, and he roared in shock. Although he was struggling to resist, he still tried to push the opponent's Qigong wave back. Crack! Under the powerful energy tug of war, Tapo used all his strength, and the strength he used made his muscles grow a circle. Under the expansion, the Pride Team uniform on his body burst directly. You lost. Sutter increased the output of energy in his hand, completely covering Tapo's destructive energy. The azure light completely enveloped and submerged Tapo's figure. The next moment, a huge energy explosion directly shook the entire world of nothingness. This caused a moment of brilliance to appear in this eternal darkness. Tapo lost. Waimai widened his eyes and could not accept the scene in front of him. Ha ha ha. Champa was so happy that his shoulders kept shaking with laughter. Fighting to support fighting, he grows really fast. Seeing the end of the battle, Makurita turned her head to look at Bardos and smiled. Sure enough, this guy named Sutter once again aroused her interest. Even this curiosity was several times stronger than before. He is mine. Bardos also smiled back and directly declared his sovereignty. You're right. Makurita didn't comment, but she didn't hide her curiosity at all. The smoke in the sky finally dissipated, and the embarrassed Tapo flew to Waimai. He felt guilty, knelt on one knee, and accepted the punishment in a deep voice. Master Waimai, I lost. I'm sorry. Tisk, forget it, it's not a big deal. Waimai's eyes were full of murderous intent, but considering that there were people present, he said it very generously. Then let's have a meal. Champa didn't notice it at all, and happily put his arm around Suti's shoulders. I'm telling you, Sut, this guy doesn't think much of how delicious your food is. Show him your skills, let him surrender to your food. Okay. Sut won a fight and even entered Super Blue. He was in a good mood and agreed readily. You can eat together. Facing Tapo, who was helping him gain experience and points, Sutter extended his hand and invited him. This Tapo, whose face was still full of self-blame, was a little confused. Before, they were fighting to the death, so why did he unilaterally feel that he could eat together now? His mind was stuck for a moment, and he could only seek help from Waimai and Makurita. Makurita nodded slightly and decided for Tapo, okay. A group of people came and went in a hurry, and soon returned to Waimai's tent. It was still the ingredients given by the system, and Sutter made a delicious dish that could not be placed. What is this? It's delicious. Makurita praised it after eating it. Not bad, not bad, it is indeed better than ordinary food. Waimidi was hypocritical and ate very fast, but he still found time to complain. Tapo, who consumed the most food, didn't say a word the whole time. He just carried a basin-sized bowl of rice in one hand and ate all the food on the table. Changpa and Bardos, who had just picked up their chopsticks, looking at each other in bewilderment. What a fast speed. The two of them were holding chopsticks, and the table was already a mess. Thank you. Tapo mixed the remaining soup with the third bowl of rice, licked the plate clean, and smiled at Sutter. After the fight, he still provided food, which seemed to be a good person. A righteous man, he, Tapo, liked this friend. Sutter, who had been defined as a friend, was unaware of it, and habitually smoked a cigarette, looking at Bardos and Shangpa who looked dissatisfied. Don't be like this, when we get back, I will make another big table, just for you two. When he finished speaking, the cold voice of the system sounded in his mind. Congratulations to the host. Tapo and the angels and gods of destruction from the 11th universe have recognized the host's food. Cooking skills increased by 6%, currently 28%. This time the reward is a negligible 1 billion combat power, plus 3 amounts of God's combat power, a total of 9 God's combat power. Transformable forms, Super Saiyan form, Super Saiyan 2 form, Super Saiyan 3 form, Super Saiyan God Realm, newly added Super Blue. The system issues benefits, Super Saiyan 4 form. In addition, the tasters are the angels and gods of destruction from the 11th universe, and the hidden level 1 destruction god skill and level 1 ultra instinct will be rewarded again. Currently, the host's destruction god skill is level 3, and so is ultra instinct. Super 4. Is it the Super 4 in Dragon Ball GT that I thought of? Sutter asked in surprise after hearing what the system said. What kind of Super 4 benefits did you issue in Dragon Ball Super? Isn't that provoking a conflict between Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan 4, asking for a fight? It's good to have many skills, how dare you despise it? The system cursed, as if it knew what Surtur was thinking. Hearing the system's complaints, Surtur didn't say much. In fact, Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan 4 should be regarded as two choices for the Saiyan race. For example, Super Saiyan 4 needs a tail to transform into a golden giant ape, with a body of fur and unspeakable animal beauty. To put it bluntly, Super Saiyan 4 is the pursuit of ultimate power and the awakening of the wildness in the heart. Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue are about finding the power in the heart. Breakthrough from the mind, thereby driving the potential in the body and further mastering the power of God. The paths they take are different. It's not like one is bad or stronger, at least Surtur admits that he is a playboy. Super 4 form, Super God Realm, he likes them all. But in the world of Dragon Ball Super, showing the wild Super 4 form. I guess not to mention that Bardos will chase him, I'm afraid all the gods will think he is on the road of no return. But if he goes to the GT world, it would be strange if he doesn't change to Super 4 but shows the realm of Super Saiyan God, right? The thought seems to be quite long, but it only takes a moment. After getting Surtur's clear words, Shangpa reluctantly responded, okay. He reluctantly dropped his chopsticks and urged Surtur, the fight has been fought, so let's go back quickly. Wait. Seeing that the three were about to leave, Makurita stood up and came to Surtur, smiling and asked. In theory, since you defeated Tapo, the god of destruction candidate, you can replace him. Do you want to become the god of destruction candidate of Universe 11? No. Hearing Surtur's answer, Makurita knew that this was expected. She still smiled, then, above Tapo, there is a stronger man, Jiren. Are you not interested in challenging or competing with him? Surtur in front of him should be the same as Jiren, pursuing strength, not some empty position. I am interested, but not now. Surtur shrugged and said something that surprised Mikurita. Now facing Jiren, he can only be beaten. Jiren, that is beyond delicious, the strongest warrior in Universe 11. This answer made Mikurita stunned. If it's okay, we'll leave. Seeing that Mikurita was biting Surtur, Bardos felt a little uncomfortable and said coldly. Just like that, while Mikurita was in a daze, the three of them, Surtur, had already walked out of the tent. Goodbye, I won't see you off. Waimide, holding a toothpick in his mouth, walked to the sofa with a perfunctory look on his face, and called the three beauties over. Then I'll take my leave too. After eating, seeing that he had nothing to do, Toppo also left in a hurry. As a warrior of justice, he was also very busy. Seeing that everyone had left, Waimai, who was enjoying the feeding and massage of the beauties, finally asked Mikurita about his doubts. You are too eager. Seeing that Mikurita was still in a daze, Waimai was eating fruit carelessly and reminded her. You seem to be a little special to that suitor. Mikurita came back to her senses, the smile on her mouth had been restrained, and she sat on the sofa calmly and said. No, I'm just a little curious. I feel that Bardos treats him very differently. Waimide sneered and showed a playful smile. You angels, it seems that there is no precedent for intermarriage with other races, right? Makalita frowned, somewhat displeased with Waimide's words, and said coldly, what do you mean? Waimide smiled noncommittally. As a senior love killer, I can tell you with my rich experience. If you are curious about male, you will only sink deeper and deeper, and finally be dragged into the quagmire and never escape. Hee. Senior love killer. Makalita glanced at Waimai coldly, and finally set her eyes on the three beauties present, and scolded. Get out. The three beauties felt a chill on their backs and shrank back. The three women didn't care what Waimai was thinking, and they ran out of the tent like a swarm. Do you think you can really preach to me? Mikurita looked at Waimai and smiled meaningfully. Don't be curious about males, what's so dirty? Do you think I will fall in love with an ordinary human because of curiosity? Mikurita said so confidently, but she didn't expect that after Walker's matter was resolved, she really fell in love with this man. Of course, this is all later. Ah, master, why are you so serious? Waimai's expression froze, and he didn't understand where Mikurita's anger came from. Wasn't he just joking? As for scaring away all the beauties around him, and asking if he would fall in love with humans. Humans are just like ants. Humph, stay alone and reflect on yourself. I'm going out for a while. Mikurita stood up and walked out of the tent with a cold face. Looking at the tent where he was the only one left, Waimai looked at Mikurita's back with grievance and begged. Hey, Mikurita, can you call my three beauties back? Please. Mikurita ignored him. After she walked out of the tent, the colorful light under her feet surged, and instantly left the destruction land of the 11th universe in a short time. Falling in love with humans, that's impossible. She was just curious about the difference of this human. Just like the angel brother, Walker in the past. Life is too long, and you always want to find something new to do. The 6th universe, the destruction land. After coming back, after making another table of delicious food, Surt sat on a rock with a cigarette in his mouth. Before he could even sit down, Mikurita from the 11th universe came. We just came back, why are you chasing us? Seeing Mikurita coming, Bardos didn't even eat the exquisite pastries that Surt had made for her, and asked with a wary face. It can't be that we forgot something and left it with you. Wow, Bardos, are you too nervous? Mikurita smiled and pointed at Suitor who was smoking and watching the fun. I'm here to find him. Looking for me. Suitor took the cigarette in his mouth and looked puzzled. That's right, what can you do with him? You are not familiar with each other. Mentioning Suitor, Bardos became more and more nervous. You seem very nervous. Mikurita smiled, and her smile was very ambiguous. Of course I am nervous, Suitor is my chef and my boyfriend. Bardos said bluntly, walked to Suitor's side and put his arm around him, declaring his possessiveness. I hope to talk to you, just the two of us. Mikurita didn't bother with Bardos, and asked Suitor directly. Bardos, don't worry, she doesn't seem to be hostile to me. Suit patted Bardos' arm and comforted him. But, Bardos wanted to say something, but seeing Suti's indifferent face, he finally let go of his arm after struggling for a while. Tisk, what are you three doing? So mysterious. Champa, who was sweeping the food, looked at the three people speechlessly. Bardos is really, Makurita just wanted to talk to Suit, not to rob people, so why is it so nervous? Besides, this is his territory, Makurita can't come to rob people openly. Even if you really want to rob people, you have to choose a dark and windy night. Hey, by the way, there is no such thing as night in the land of destruction. Thinking of this, Champa didn't think about it anymore. What's the point of thinking so much? Just eat. This way. Sutter gestured, under a tree 100 meters away that everyone present could see. Okay. Makurita responded with a smile and followed. When she passed by Bardos, she suddenly said to Bardos lightly. You like this human, right? What? Bardos's face froze, full of shock. Makurita's words were not a question, but were very sure. As an angel, how could she like ordinary humans? But, Bardos stared blankly at Makurita who was walking over, and suddenly a voice came out of his heart. Yes, Makurita was right. She not only liked Sutter's food, but also liked Sutter as a person. Just when Bardos faced her heart, Makurita had already walked in front of Sutter. Looking at the two people gradually coming together, Bardos felt the sourness of pickled cabbage, and the two people were so dazzling. What happened to the angels? What happened to the humans? Now her idea is to go up and separate them immediately. Standing next to Sute, it should be her Bardos. Under the tree. Sute threw the cigarette butt on the ground, stepped over, and asked Makurita, what do you want to tell me? Wait, get a protective shield. Do you think this distance can escape the perception of the angels? Makurita slowly and provocatively glanced at Bardos not far away, and showed a protective shield, wrapping her and Sute inside. Hurry up. What's the matter? Sute saw the anxiety flashing on Bardos' face after the protective shield appeared, and urged. Bardos likes you, the kind of love that reproduces. As soon as Makurita opened her mouth, it was explosive information. Oh. Sute lit another cigarette and held it in his mouth carelessly, but what you said is really harsh. You can say this is love between men and women, or you can say it is attraction between opposite, reproduction and so on. It's really a bit harsh. Listening to Sute's complaints, Makurita threw another question, do you like Bardos? Yes, Bardos is so beautiful. Sute didn't beat around the bush and said it frankly. He liked Bardos the first time he saw Bardos in Dragon Ball Super. There is no precedent for angels to marry outsiders, let alone humans who are as humble as ants. Every word Makurita said was full of strong hints, which made it difficult for Sute not to think too much. Do you mean that the father of angels, the high priest, will stop us from being together? Sute exhaled smoke and smiled. Faced with this evil smile, Makurita became more curious and asked, aren't you afraid? Perhaps the most serious consequence. Will you die and Bardos be forced to fall asleep? What does this question have to do with you? Sutter did not answer, but asked back. Curiosity. Makurita looked charming and smiled mischievously. Haven't you heard a saying? Sutter didn't know Makurita's real purpose, he leaned against the tree with his arms folded. Curiosity can kill a cat. I'm not as fragile as you think, and I'm even stronger than you think, at least stronger than Bardos. Makurita didn't say much nonsense and said her purpose. I can feel that you have great potential. Would you like me to be your sparring partner? Sparring. Could it be a guinea pig in some experiment? This time, it was Sutter's turn to say something so unpleasant. White mouse, this word is interesting. Makurita's lips curled slightly, and she smiled a little bloodthirsty. So, are you willing? What do you want to verify on me? Or, what do you want to get from me? Sutter was still calm, as if he was talking about what to eat later. What can I get from him? The kind that sells kidneys and buys apples. I want to create the strongest human in the universe, surpassing the god of destruction, surpassing the angels, and even surpassing the high priest. Makurita frowned slightly, pursed her lips and said the idea in her mind. You know, it's really hard to find such a potential person. Jiren can be counted as one, but his belief is too strong and doesn't meet my requirements. And I haven't been able to find a person who meets the requirements in other universes. Makurita raised her head slightly, looked at Suter and continued. What do you think? Do you want to consider it? After all, I can give you everything that Bardos can give you. Similarly, I am stronger than her and can guide you better. I have assisted many gods of destruction, and I can help you avoid more detours on the road to becoming stronger. Sutter shifted his gaze and smiled at the nervous Bardos in the distance, speaking with a sense of alienation. It sounds like I have a lot of benefits. Just losing a little freedom, but can you get powerful power? But, don't you think this kind of deal is a loss? Sutter is not a rookie who has just entered society, so how can he not know that there is no free lunch in the world? Loss. I'm not sure. Makurita seemed to have thought of something, looking up at the sky, and the breath around her exuded sadness. Maybe she thinks that it is him, a regret that has not been completed. Oh. Sutter shrugged, not wanting to know the follow-up at all, and not intending to know the so-called him, and directly refused. To be honest, I don't want to agree to you, because even in this place of destruction, I didn't accept Bardos's guidance. First of all, I'm a cook. I only like to cook for people I like. Secondly, I can pursue becoming stronger, but not by relying on others. Also, Makurita actually has a him. Just delete it from the favorite list. After being rejected, Makurita chuckled, wow. You are really interesting. Then, I wish you to become stronger and survive the high priest's act of seizing your daughter until the last moment of your life. Yes, because I have an immortal physique. Sutter also smiled back. Is this what you rely on? Makurita smiled even more brilliantly, her eyebrows curved into crescents. Have you forgotten? The king of all has the ability to erase everything. But I can cook all kinds of delicious food. Sutter took a step, walked past Makurita, and said softly. Hee hee. Makurita was already laughing to the point of shaking her body, with a hint of joy and mockery in her laughter. I don't know who she was mocking. Even if she was mocking Sutter, he probably wouldn't care. If the enemy comes, we will fight him. If the water comes, we will block it. He is sure to pick up the angel Bardos. What did Makurita say to you? Seeing Sutter coming, Bardos couldn't bear the anxiety in his heart and flashed in front of Sutter. Sutter smiled, and just when he was about to speak, Makurita spoke first. I said, I like him too, and I want to be with him. Facing Makurita with a face full of ridicule, Bardos was angry and wanted to hit her. You. Sutter, you don't like her too, do you? As soon as he turned his eyes to Sutter, Bardos saw Makurita flashing from under the tree and holding Sutter's hand. I'm prettier than you, my figure is better than yours, and I have cute twin ponytails, what do you think? What's more, you didn't confess, so can't I? Asshole. Looking at the interlocked fingers, Bardos lost his usual calmness and actually planned to pull the two apart. Let go, Makurita, Sutter was the one I fell in love with first. Just when Bardos was about to take action, Sutter took the lead in shaking off Makurita's hand and comforted Bardos. Calm down, Bardos, don't be led astray. Makurita is just provoking you. She doesn't really like me. This sentence was like letting Bardos drink refreshing spring water under the scorching sun. Is that so? Bardos looked at Sutter with hope and confirmed again. Then, she would take the initiative, so as not to let Makurita get the upper hand. Oh, won't your heart hurt to reject a beautiful angel like this silently? Makurita looked resentful, pointing her index finger at Sutter's chest, and Bardos was so angry that he slapped her hand away. He. I won't tease you anymore. Makurita was not angry either, and smiled at the two of them. Suit, you should consider my suggestion carefully. I'll wait for you to come to me. After the words fell, colorful light appeared under Makurita's feet, and she left the land of destruction just like that. Tisk tisk. I don't understand what you are talking about at all. Shampa had already finished the sweep, and was eating melon seeds while watching the three people's good show. Although he didn't understand much, he was impatient for him to join in the fun. What did she tell you? Bardos frowned slightly, with a melancholy face. She wants me to be her experiment. Sutter reached out and touched Bardos's head, and directly pointed out the words. Makulita seems to be secretly making trouble, saying that she wants to create the strongest human in the universe. The strongest human in the universe. Bardos was obviously stunned when he heard this, and murmured in a low voice, Makulita, hasn't gotten over that thing yet. Huh, it seems that you know a lot of things too. Sutter's previous indifference was all a performance for Makurita. Now, seeing that Bardos also knew, he immediately asked, who is that, he? Also, What is that thing you were talking about? Can you tell me about it? Bardos was not on guard against suitor, bit his lip and said, I don't know the details. If I'm not mistaken, he that Makurita is talking about should be our brother, that is, our father's first child, Walker. Walker. Suitor was also surprised. I thought it was Makurita's sweetheart, but it turned out to be their angel's eldest brother, Walker. Makurita appeared on his favorite list again. Walker wanted to create the strongest human in the universe, so he got involved in good and evil. His father warned him several times. But he didn't listen to the advice every time, and the experiment became worse and worse, even affecting the entire universe under Walker's jurisdiction. Humans in the entire universe were affected, and Walker was also removed from the position of supervisor by the high priest and became a fallen angel. Hearing that the topic had reached a familiar part, Champa walked towards Bardos and Surtur while cracking melon seeds, talking about the final ending. Later, some people said that Walker was wiped out by the Lord of the Omni, and some people said that he escaped under the compassion of the High Priest. Oh. Hearing this, Surtur thought of some peripheral fan comics after Dragon Ball Super came out. Tisk tisk, suddenly people are so gossipy. Angel Walker actually exists, and Makurita actually cares about this big brother so much. This matter. Bardos pondered for a moment, stretched out his hand to hold the scepter in his hand, and said to sudden Champa. It's not big, but it's not small either. I have to find Makurita. She can't have such dangerous ideas. Watching Bardos leave, Sut turned his eyes to Champa who was still cracking melon seeds. Looking at him, he felt that this fat cat was greasy. Champa, Pa, go run 10 laps. Tisk. Champa looked disdainful and retorted solemnly, you'll have a stomachache if you run right after eating. The god of destruction will have a stomachache. Sut waved his fist at Champa with a teasing look on his face. HMPH, I'm the god of destruction, but I'm also afraid of being burned. Champa also stretched out his hand and clenched his fist like Sut. But he didn't dare to wave, just stretched out his tongue and licked the back of his hand like a cat. You know, this tongue is also fragile. This righteous look made Sut laugh even colder. He pretended to punch Champa in the eye socket and threatened, I know, let's practice. Forget it, go get me some fruit, I'll eat it after running. After Champa finished speaking, he ran away in shame. After leaving the land of destruction, Bardos flew towards the 11th universe. But halfway through her flight, she suddenly changed direction and headed for a faraway place. The temple where the king of all is. The temple was empty except for a man floating more than 30 centimeters above the ground. He put his hands behind his back and looked at Bardos standing in front of him, with a hint of surprise on his face. Are you telling the truth? Really, father, I can guarantee it. Bardos also nodded with a serious expression. The person opposite Bardos was also an angel, but his figure was a little short compared to her. But he was the famous high priest, the father of angels. White big back hair, the same light blue skin, purple eyes and purple lips, and a light blue divine ring floating behind his head. In addition, there was a big belt around his waist. Although the whole person was short, he could not resist the powerful aura lingering around him. Even if you look at it at first glance, there is always a faint smile on his face. If what you said is true, then I must call Makurita to talk. At this moment, the high priest frowned slightly, and the smile that was often on his face faded a little. Faced with such an expression of the high priest, Bardos was not afraid at all, and once again threw out explosive news. Father, in addition to Makurita's matter, I have something else to tell you. That is, I want to resign from the position of the supervisor of the god of destruction. Hearing this, the high priest frowned a little more. He turned his eyes to Bardos, feeling a little puzzled, and asked. Why? This daughter. Every time she brought news, his heart, which had been calm for billions of years, would be rippled. Look, how many billions of years has she been the supervisor of the god of destruction? How many gods of destruction has she led? Just say she doesn't want to do it anymore. Father, I don't think this job is suitable for me. Bardos said, taking a few steps forward to close the distance with the high priest, and pointed at the corner of his eye. Look, it's because I've been a supervisor for so long that I've become old. Look, the fine lines at the corner of the eye, and the forehead. There are forehead lines. It's really tiring to take care of Lord Shangpa. This fat cat is like a light bulb. Quote. The high priest took a few steps back, looked at this funny daughter speechlessly, and sighed. But, Bardos, you. Before the high priest could come up with any excuses, Bardos had already rushed ahead and sighed. I have been working hard all these years. Even if I have no credit, it is still full of hard work. 3 black lines slid down the high priest's forehead, and he said speechlessly, it's up to you, it's up to you. My daughter has grown up and has more thoughts. What about the supervisor of the god of destruction who will replace me? Seeing that the high priest agreed, Bardos couldn't wait to ask when she thought that she could play freely with Cert in the future. She could also get rid of Shangpa, the burden, and she asked out loud. Well, let Idas take your place. The high priest restrained his expression and waved his hand, and another male angel came not far away. Idas, oh, not bad, you have grown so big. I haven't seen you for 200 million years. Seeing the person coming, Bardos smiled faintly. Great, I will be free soon. Long time no see, Sister Bardos. Idas also smiled faintly. Then, the 6th universe is handed over to you. Bardos was in a good mood, and smiled and stretched out her hand to Idas, saying, I'll entrust you with this. The unpleasant Lord Shangpa will need your care in the future. Although Shangpa, this disciple, is not liked by her, she taught him after all. Nearly 200 million years of companionship. Humph, that's enough. I can kick him away. Seeing the 2 people shaking hands and greeting each other in a very official manner, the high priest calmly took out his right hand from behind his back and waved it at the 2 people. Let's start the handover. The words were short, but Bardos and Idas restrained their expressions at the same time, and fought in a serious confrontation. Then, the next moment, a dazzling silver light burst out from the 2 of them. At the same time, a virtual image of the 6th universe appeared behind Bardos. The huge universe picture seemed to cover the temple of the Omni King. Let's start, Idas. Bardos said, raising his hands high and pushing the virtual image of the universe to Idas. Okay, Bardos. Idas looked serious, opened his hands wide, and embraced the virtual image of the universe into his arms. Under the dazzling light curtain, the universe and time and space seemed to overlap. Bardos's universe light curtain was all transferred to Idas. The exchange ended just like that. Idas, who was originally dressed in a white robe, was now wearing the angel costume of the 6th universe. In his hand, he also held a scepter that could survey the entire universe at any time. Wow! This dress suits you quite well, Idas. Bardos's smile was very bright and beautiful. Her angel dress was gone, replaced by a plain dress similar to a white dress. Even her high ponytail was now draped over her shoulders. The once extremely sacred Bardos now had a bit more feminine charm. It's so relaxing, I'm no longer a servant of Lord Shangpa. Bardos said, and rolled up her long hair again. The high ponytail appeared again, and she stretched out her hand to Idas and invited him. Let's go to Universe 6 together. I just want to say goodbye to Lord Shangpa. By the way, Bardos, you have resigned as the supervisor of the god of destruction. Do you have anything else to do? The high priest saw that Bardos was in a good mood, especially his eyes were smiling like crescent moons, so he suddenly asked. The king of time seems to be a little too busy. Before the high priest finished speaking, Bardos had already hurriedly pulled Idas and pulled him out of the temple of the Omni King. Quote. This guy. Seeing that the 2 disappeared in the blink of an eye, the high priest was speechless, the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. Oh, forget it, let's contact Makarita. He sighed faintly, raised his hand and waved, and a mirror appeared in front of him. All of these are troublesome. Universe 6, the land of destruction. You, Bardos, you. Shangpa, who was running a few laps panting, suddenly had a bad premonition after seeing Bardos and another angel coming. Why? Bardos went out for a while and changed his clothes. Moreover, the clothes of the original supervisor were worn by another angel. The more Shangpa looked, the wider his eyes widened. He was horrified, and he couldn't believe the scene in front of him, and he trembled and pointed at Bardos. Hey, Bardos, why did you change your clothes? Sute came over with a cigarette in his mouth and a few melons in his hand, and asked curiously. He was just curious, without any thoughts. Because I don't want to be the supervisor of the god of destruction. Bardos smiled and introduced the angel standing next to her to Surt. This is Idas, the new supervisor of the god of destruction of the sixth universe. Oh no. Bardos, aren't you only going out for one trip? Champa shook his head frantically. He rejected his teacher and changed someone else. Yes, I went to the temple of the Omni King on the way and found my father and said I didn't want to do it anymore. Looking at Bardos with a smile on his face, Surt put the melon on the table beside him, took a puff of cigarette, and asked. Can you stop being the teacher of the god of destruction if you don't want to? So willful. Why? Why? Champa roared angrily, almost to the point of roaring. It's okay to be always disliked, but in this situation, he was abandoned. Abandoned, right. Why did you abandon me? Bardos, you can't do this, woo. Champa was very aggrieved. He quickly ran to Bardos's feet and wanted to hug her thighs, crying. Swish. Bardos dodged quickly, pushed Idas to Champa, and said with a smile. Don't be like this, Lord Champa, we will come to see you often in the future. After releasing Ida's thighs, Champa bit his back teeth tightly, stared at Bardos angrily, and asked. Why did you abandon me? I didn't abandon you, Lord Champa. I'm just tired of being the supervisor of the god of destruction. I want to have a good rest and relax. Faced with this explanation, Champa didn't believe it and shouted relentlessly. We have been together for more than 200 million years. Why are you suddenly tired? You are not tired in the morning or in the evening, but you are suddenly tired at this time. Excuses, scumbag. Woo woo. More than 200 million years of companionship. Abandoned just like that, did he really let Bardos despise him so much? The cat was wronged, the cat wanted to cry loudly. Then, the rest is up to you, Idas. Bardos didn't say much, and turned his eyes to Idas. Don't worry, sister, I will take good care of and guide Lord Champa. Idas smiled back and nodded. Suit, let's go. Bardos blinked at Suit and smiled. Suitor, who was a little confused watching the whole process, said, go. Where to? Of course, we are going to start our free life. Aren't you my chef? Bardos took Suitor's hand and stuck out his tongue playfully. You are my boyfriend. Of course, you will be wherever I am. Oh, okay. Suitor nodded and followed Bardos to take him away from the land of destruction. Looking at the two people leaving, Champa was like being struck by lightning and petrified on the spot. His teacher, servant, Bardos, left, and the chef who could cook delicious food also left. So, they really disliked him for being redundant. Assholes, you really treated me as a burden and threw me away, right? With tears in his eyes, Champa roared to the sky. He remembered this blood feud that was never fought. Master Champa, how about I cook something for you? My cooking skills are pretty good. Seeing Champa's great sorrow and a bit depressed, Idas kindly advised him. Okay. I want to eat clay pot rice, the kind with 100 bowls. Ah, clay pot rice. What is that? The vast universe. Suitor looked at Bardos, who was holding his arm and looked satisfied, and asked his doubts. That. Bardos, did you really quit this position because you don't want to be a supervisor? No. Bardos shook his head slightly, looked straight into Suitor's eyes, and said every word seriously, because of you, because I like you. I want to be with you. Ah. Faced with this sudden confession, Suitor felt a little unreal. The person he likes suddenly confessed to him. This is my complete freedom, I want to go with you. Bardos said, shyly threw herself into Suitor's arms, and asked in a muffled voice, then do you, like me? Of course I do. Suitor also hugged Bardos and gave her a passionate kiss. I have liked you for a long, long time, since the first time I saw you. In the bright galaxy and the moving light shield, there is the sweetness after each other's confession. It was at this time. Makurita also received an emergency call from the high priest and came to the temple of the king of all. Because of Bardos's report, she was verbally warned by the high priest. Therefore, Makurita also learned about Bardos' resignation. Originally, she also wanted to turn around and tell others that Bardos liked humans. But she changed her mind. If the high priest knew about Surt's existence now, then her plan to create the strongest person in the universe. This plan will also be shelved. Angry, Makurita could only leave the temple of the Omni King in dismay. After she returned to the destruction of the 11th universe, she took the magic stone on the scepter and explored every corner of the universe one by one. However, the workload was too great. In addition to the High Priest's warning, she could not explore everywhere blatantly. The final result was that Makurita could not find Bardos and Cert at all. These two people are really good at hiding. The one who cursed this was also Champa from the 6th universe. After eating a meal made by Idas, Champa immediately hired Hit with a large sum of money. That's right, Hit, the contestant from the 6th universe who appeared in the 6th and 7th universe martial arts competition held later. Hit, wearing a purple robe and always with his hands in his pockets, looked extremely cool. Looking at Hit, who was extremely cold, Champa signaled Idas to project the virtual image of Cert to Hit. Okay, I'll take this mission. Hit nodded, then picked up all the jewelry that was as big as a mountain with an expressionless face and left immediately. Wait, I'm not asking you to kill him. Seeing Hit was about to leave, Champa hurriedly stopped him. He knew Hit was a killer. If he didn't make it clear, Hit would probably kill Sut. He wanted to find someone, not to kill someone. What's more, there was a Bardos who was with Sut all the time. Could Hit kill Sut? Even if he killed him, wouldn't he have to be killed by Bardos? He just wanted some delicious food. Without Bardos, there would be no Bardos. Hasn't he been replaced by an angel? Moreover, this guy's personality is much better than Bardos. If you can live a leisurely life, why do you need Bardos who is unpredictable and turns against you at any time? No. I'm a killer. Are you looking for me not to kill people? Hit narrowed his eyes and looked at Champa with a complicated expression with contempt, pretending to throw down the jewels like a mountain of gold. Is this god of destruction mentally retarded? What is a profession without respect? Twice as much as the things here. Champa thought for a moment, weighed the pros and cons, and showed 2 fingers. Wealth cannot be eaten as food, just give it, no regrets. Although it is easy to find someone, it is also very cumbersome to track, so naturally it is not this price. Hit was unmoved, showed 3 fingers, and began to raise the price. Okay. Remember to do it in secret. Champa gritted his teeth and agreed to Hit's lion's mouth. The reason for saying this is mainly because he is afraid of embarrassment. People in the 6th universe know, in fact, it doesn't matter. As a god of destruction, if he hears someone gossiping, he will directly destroy that person and be done with it. But this fact that he was abandoned by Bardos cannot be directly exposed. What if Beerus from the 7th universe knows? He is the god of destruction, Champa, where will his face be? Got it. Hit was expressionless as he left with a mountain of gold that was 3 times bigger than before. Hit was indeed the number 1 killer in the 6th universe. With his special means, he quickly found Cert's trail. Cert and Bardos chatted and laughed all the way, and they wandered from this planet in the 6th universe to another planet. Laughter and happiness. Such scenes were conveyed to Champa by Hit. But every time Champa arrived at this planet under the leadership of Idas, Bardos and Cert had already gone to the next planet. Idas, did you do this on purpose? After experiencing the same situation several times, Champa clenched his fist and shouted at Idas angrily. No, Lord Champa, don't talk nonsense, I have been doing my duty and obeying your orders. Esther smiled again and again, but the smile in her eyes did not reach the bottom of her eyes. Before, Bardos did tell him that whenever Lord Champa wanted to find her, he should pretend to obey, but he could do some small tricks. After all, she is his sister. Help relatives instead of outsiders, it is a must. Because of your procrastination, my mission has not been completed. If you want their traces again, then add extra money. Looking at Hit, who stretched out his hand to ask for money from him, Champa almost bit his back teeth. I won't look for him anymore. I'm going back, Idas, I'm leaving. Looking at Champa, who walked away cursing, Hit put his hands in his pockets and looked up at the sky with a lonely face. Sutter. That guy seems to be very strong, why doesn't anyone pay me to kill him? After this episode, more than half a year has passed. Sutter also collected a lot of fresh and exotic ingredients in the 6th universe. When he came back to his senses and realized the passage of time, He had unknowingly come to the day when Son Goku's granddaughter, Xiaofang, was born. Of course, Bulma called to tell him about this. Then, Sutter and Bardos went to the Earth of the 7th universe and gave a birthday gift to the daughter of Son Gohan and Videl. Sutter also took this opportunity to have Bulma hold a wedding ceremony for him. The wedding was, of course, prepared for Bardos. I wish you happiness. Congratulations. May you have a baby soon. With blessings, Surt and Bardos also started their first official wedding night. The room was full of beauty until dawn. Of course, Surt did not invite Sun Wukong, Vegeta, Whis and Beerus who were in the God realm to the wedding. If these 4 people came, his wedding would definitely be a mess. Even the Champa of the 6th universe was forgotten by the tacit understanding of Surt and Bardos. The next morning, looking at Bardos who was sleepy and not very elegant with one foot pressing the quilt beside him, Surt smiled and covered her with the quilt. Bardos, you are not afraid of catching a cold. Well, it's a bit hot. Hearing Surt's voice, Bardos muttered dissatisfiedly and kicked the quilt open again. Ah! Sutter was helpless. He swallowed his saliva involuntarily when he saw Bardos wearing pajamas and showing off her figure. Hee hee. After feeling Sutter's burning gaze, Bardos stood up and grabbed his collar. The two fell into a sweet moment of love and affection again. This went on for 3 days. Just when Sutter wanted to take Bardos to a romantic honeymoon in the 7th universe. Bulma called again. Hello, Sutter, are you still on Earth? My house was robbed. Listening to Bulma's nervous words on the phone, Sutter just wanted to hold his forehead. I was robbed. Then you go find the policeman Krillin. Find me what for? No, the other party is not a simple thief. The words paused for a while. Bulma sent the surveillance and continued. From the surveillance, it seems to be the remnants of Frieza's army. They stole the Dragon Balls I collected before. Why do you collect Dragon Balls when you have nothing to do? Surt complained about Bulma's meddling. HMPH, stop asking about women's affairs. Under this dissatisfied scolding, Surt was also unhappy. Then you know who the thief is, why are you calling me? Hey, Surt, the sky outside suddenly got dark, what a strange sight. Bardos leaned against the window and suddenly said. It's over. It's over, it must be as I guessed. Frieza's soldiers took the Dragon Balls and made a wish to revive Frieza. Bulma's words became more and more anxious, holding the phone and shouting, what should I do? If Frieza is resurrected. It's okay, you can contact Whis and let Son Goku and Vegeta come back, right? Suter didn't care much, and walked past the window while talking. It was noon, and the sky was completely dark. It was obvious that Frieza's minions had used the Dragon Balls. Frieza, resurrected. Golden Frieza. Hey, are you listening to me? Bulma's voice rang out again on the other end of the line. She looked at a loss, and yelled, I just can't contact them. I've been calling for half an hour. Don't worry, Frieza is not stupid. Sutter said, sitting next to Bardos, explaining perfunctorily. With his current combat power, even if he is resurrected on the spot, he is still so rubbish. Anyone from the Earth. People like Buu, Gohan, and Piccolo can beat Frieza. Really? Bulma on the other end of the phone was skeptical for a while. It's up to you if you don't believe it, you continue to call Son Goku and the others. I'm hanging up first, Sutter said, and hung up the communication, smiling at Bardos. Where do you want to go next? It's all right. Bardos leaned on Sutter's shoulder, tilted his head and asked, are you really not going to care about Bulma and the others? It's okay. Sutter gave an affirmative answer. According to the plot of Dragon Ball Super, Frieza will go back to his own territory to practice for 4 months before coming to Earth for revenge again. I don't mind. After all, I'm not very familiar with Universe 7. Bardos didn't ask any more questions and changed the subject. By the way, Surt, do you have a planet you particularly want to go to? After a little thought, Surt said, that's true. I want to go to Namek. Namek's Shenlong, Piranga, can fulfill 3 wishes. Kaioken, Spirit Bomb, what else should I add? Survive in the universe. Ever since he made a wish to Super Shenlong for Buu's physique, he has been able to survive in the universe. Wishing for Senzu beans. It seems useless. Bardos has the ability to heal, and even the ability to revive after death, so what is Senzu beans for? Eat as a meal. Cut. Isn't the food he makes delicious? Forget it, at worst, it will be wasted. Just as Bulma was angry that Surt hung up on her, the sky had already brightened up again. Passers-by from Frieza's army, Sold and Tajma, had already returned to the spaceship with Frieza's body parts. Just like the plot, when Frieza was about to propose destroying the Earth, Tajma stopped him. This passerby was killed. Frieza was furious and started a 4-month training. Sun Wukong, Vegeta, you wait for me, this emperor will definitely seek revenge on you. In a blink of an eye, 4 months have passed. Universe 7, the land of the gods. Surt and Bardos came here. Hey, why are you here? Beerus was watching Sun Wukong and Vegeta sparring. He asked curiously after seeing the two. Where is Champa? Why isn't he with you? Sister, what are you doing? Looking at Bardos in a white dress, Whis was stunned and stood there. I've resigned, and now it's my vacation time. Bardos smiled, her face filled with happiness. You two, aren't you together? Whis is a smart person in some ways, and he saw the signs at a glance. Yeah, aren't you going to bless us? Bardos admitted openly. Hey, sister, what about father? Hearing this, Whis hurriedly pulled the person to a corner and questioned him. Beerus' ears moved, and then the corners of his mouth lifted up, and he laughed out loud, resign. This means that Champa was abandoned by Bardos, abandoned, ha ha ha. No, I must find a chance to laugh at him. Listening to the rough laughter, Sun Wukong, who was sparring with Vegeta, was distracted and soon fell from midair to the grass. Hey, congratulations. He grinned, put his hands on his hips and invited Surt. Do you want to practice with us? HMPH. Vegeta snorted arrogantly and fell down. Sure. Surt clenched his fists that hadn't hit anyone for a long time, and jumped into the air with Sun Wukong. I haven't seen you for a while, and I feel that you have become a lot stronger. Sun Wukong's face was full of excitement. He clenched his fists and shouted softly, and then rushed towards Surt. Looking at the two people punching and kicking each other, Vegeta snorted disdainfully. Tisk, this Saiyan is just a cook in my family, how come he is so powerful all of a sudden? Thinking of Bulma's birthday last time, he was very depressed. A cook in his family actually stole all his limelight. If he could become a Super Saiyan god in the first place. Bang! A loud noise interrupted Vegeta's thoughts, and he looked sideways. I saw that Sun Wukong was hit by Surt's punch and his body was unstable, and he flew backwards directly. Boom boom boom. As Sun Wukong fell to the ground, the forest in the destruction land was instantly smashed into ruins. The trees were crooked, and even the ground was hit with countless cracks. In the billowing smoke, Sun Wukong touched the back of his head and sat up from the pit. He grimaced and cried out in pain, it hurts, it hurts. Suitor, you're really strong. It's just so. Suitor was suspended in midair, saying to Sun Wukong in the pit. After all, his fighting power was higher than Sun Wukong's. Even without transformation, he could still beat the protagonist. Do you want to fight again? Or just transform? Hearing Suitor's words, Sun Wukong jumped up on the spot, rushed into the air again, and laughed, fight again, this time I'll transform. Ha! Sun Wukong entered the realm of Super Saiyan God. He had no martial ethics at all and punched Suitor again. Bang! This move came unexpectedly. Suitor was directly knocked away and crashed into the ground. You guy! Seeing that he was getting closer and closer to the ground, Suitor hurriedly stretched out his hands to support the ground, trying to get rid of the inertia. But it was not so easy to dissipate the force of Sun Wukong's punch under the Super Saiyan God. Swish, swish. Suitor's hands slid on the grass, rubbing the grass along the way. Under a deep gully, there was a lot of brown soil that had been turned up. Tisk! You dog Kong, you have no martial ethics at all. Ha! Suitor shouted with dissatisfaction, directly entered the Super Blue Realm, flew into the air, and kicked Sun Wukong with a sweeping kick. This guy, actually entered the Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. When Vegeta saw Suitor's transformation, he was so shocked that his jaw was about to dislocate. Suitor, when did you also enter this realm? Sun Wukong looked at Suitor who was rushing straight at him, asked excitedly, and also entered the Super Blue Realm. You all know it, why can't I? Suitor smiled and collided with Sun Wukong's fists. Bang! The two fists collided, and a strong wind whistled and swept across the air in the divine realm. You are stronger than me. Sun Wukong was shocked by Suits with one punch. He retreated several meters. He shook his numb hands and muttered. HMPH, keep going. Suit said as he pursued the victory, approaching Sun Wukong quickly with an unyielding momentum. Bang bang bang. Now, it was Sun Wukong's turn to be caught off guard. He crossed his hands in front of his chest, trying to resist the aggressive Suit. But after a few moves, Sun Wukong was broken through by Suiti's defense and punched in the cheek. Bang. Following closely, the second punch hit Sun Wukong's eye socket. This move made Sun Wukong, who was an expert in fighting, cry out in pain. It's really horrible. Looking at Sun Wukong who was suppressed in the air, Beerus put his hands behind his head and praised leisurely. He was in a good mood. He was happy when Champa was unlucky. Tisk. Looking at Sun Wukong who was beaten black and blue in an instant, Vegeta also spat at the grass secretly. This cook in his family is quite capable. Boom. Finally, Sun Wukong, who wanted to practice with Cert, was kicked away by Cert and crashed into the mountain not far away. Hey, Vegeta, do you want to practice too? Suit looked at Sun Wukong who jumped out of the mountain, grinning and unrecognizable. He turned his head to look at Vegeta and invited him. I want to fight with you. Vegeta snorted proudly, shifted his gaze, and didn't look at Cert. He couldn't even beat Kakarot, so why did he go and get abused by Surtur? Kakarot was seriously ill, but he wasn't sick. What about you, Beerus? Surtur turned his gaze to Beerus again. Just now, the fight was not even a warm-up. However, the desire to fight was aroused. Oh, you want to fight with me? Beerus threw the grass in his mouth to the ground, put his hands on his waist and looked up. You want to be abused by me, right? The power I exerted last time was just a warm-up. Surtur, who was suspended in the air, replied indifferently, I know, I am much stronger now than then. Ever since the battle with Toppo, his god combat power has been completely stable at 9. But after marrying Bardos, Surtur also began to have a clear second goal. He had hooked up with an angel, but in terms of strength, if he really encountered any trouble, would he still need to rely on his angel wife for protection? Does this man still want to save face? So, whenever he had time, he would ask Bardos to create a mirror space with time flow. He would often go in and fight with his mirror self. In the fight to the death, and every time it was a life and death battle, Surt's god combat power was rising like a rocket. From Beerus' 10 points, his current god combat power has reached 14 points. Although it is a little worse than the angel, it is no problem to beat Beerus up. At that time, the so-called draw between him and Beerus in the Super Saiyan God realm should be refreshed. Facing Surt's hand to recruit, Beerus, who knew nothing and thought Surt was still standing still, also quickly flew into the air. Okay, then let me see how much stronger you are. But let me make a deal first. If you fight me, you must cook me a delicious meal later, otherwise. Compared to Champa, Beerus is much more cunning and makes very excessive demands. Okay, it's just a meal. Sutter readily agreed, and at the same time, he stepped on the ground and was about to attack Beerus. It was at this time. In a remote corner, Bardos and Whis' little secret as siblings also ended here. Bardos put his index finger on his lips and solemnly instructed Whis, who looked depressed. Anyway, this is my own decision. Don't tell anyone for the time being. Okay. Whis pursed his lips, frowning so much that he could kill a fly. But in the end, he agreed. As the two walked towards the river, the magic stone on Whis' scepter flickered. Inside the magic stone, Bulma was holding a huge strawberry sundae and kept calling out. Whis, did you hear me? Please, get my message soon. Goku, Vegeta, if you don't come back, the earth will be gone. Think about your wives, your children. Frieza is here, it's over. When Whis just connected to the magic stone communication, the information burst out all at once. Is it Bulma? Hearing the voice, Vegeta turned his head to look at Whis who stopped and asked. What's wrong? Bulma is so anxious, what is she doing? Sutter noticed this scene, braked suddenly in midair, curled his lips and said, this Bulma, specially came to disturb my interest. Before, when he went to Namek with Bardos, Sutter thought Bulma was annoying and threw her mobile phone. Otherwise, these few months, it wouldn't be so free. Connected. Bulma shouted with joy, conveying an explosive news to the people present. Frieza has come to Earth and has started a battle with Son Gohan, Piccolo and Krillin. What? Son Goku shouted again in shock just after easing the pain on his body. Will Gohan and the others be okay? Tisk. Beerus also knew that this battle with Searcher would either not be fought or postponed. Without a good meal, he had to fall to the ground with his hands on his hips. Beerus noticed the strawberry sundae that Bulma was holding from the corner of his eye and asked irrelevant questions. Bulma, what's in your hand? It looks delicious. In this situation where life was not guaranteed, Bulma did not explain much, but just kept urging. Anyway, come here quickly. Gohan and the others won't be able to hold on for long. Piccolo said that Frieza gave him a very strong feeling. Kakarot, let's go back quickly. Vegeta said, quickly came to Son Goku's side, and put his hand on his shoulder. Okay. Son Goku nodded and used instant teleportation directly. Seeing the two men leave, Surt looked at Beerus and asked. Are we still going to fight? Fight. After thinking for a while, Beerus thought of a perfect solution. I'll go to Earth first and eat what Bulma has in her hand. Then, when I come back, I'll fight you again, and we'll eat delicious food together after the fight. Quote. You have a beautiful idea. This arrangement made Surt speechless. With the idea of fighting Beerus again no matter what. Faced with Beerus's beautiful idea, Surt decided to agree. Fortunately, he has never seen popularity. Golden Frieza is so tall, just go and watch the fun. Earth. Frieza's army has already gathered on Earth. The fierce battle has already started. Little Ultraman from the M78 Nebula. Oh, it's the elite from the Galactic Patrol. Jack and Bulma are hiding behind the rocks and are closely watching this battle. The enemy's Cosmic Emperor, Frieza, has not yet taken action. Some Z warriors on Earth who can only serve as the background of Dragon Ball Super have launched a stalemate battle with thousands of Frieza soldiers. It didn't take long for the cannon fodder-like soldiers to be almost solved. It is worth mentioning that Frieza despised the rubbish of his own soldiers and decided to go into battle himself. With one move, Super Saiyan Gohan almost got a box lunch. But fortunately, Piccolo has rich daily medical knowledge and gave Son Gohan a cardiopulmonary resuscitation at a critical moment. At this point, Son Gohan successfully ate the Senzu bean and was revived with full health. Swish. At this time, Son Goku and Vegeta had already rushed over from Beerus. The two of them teleported and appeared next to Piccolo. Swish. Before the two of them could see the current situation clearly, Surtur also teleported with Bardos. As soon as they arrived, they unexpectedly stepped on an ugly blue-skinned alien hiding below. Seeing this guy's death, Surtur and Bardos didn't care at all. Isn't he just an insignificant soldier in Frieza's army? When enemies meet, they are extremely jealous. Frieza didn't tolerate Son Goku's presence for a few seconds, and he started to scold him. You've done me such a disservice. Then I'll be hung on a giant tree in heaven every day, watching the teddy bears and rabbits playing boring music. Frieza kept talking to Son Goku, and kept madly expressing his pain in heaven. He also said that he couldn't tolerate Son Goku still being alive, so he practiced for the first time in his life. Die. Frieza cursed, clenched his fist and shouted, and started his revenge on Son Goku. Sutter took the melon seeds handed by Bardos, and the two of them became spectators together. The situation of the two fighting was a bit bad, causing both Sutter and Bardos to look uninterested. Thanks for watching.